This is Ryan Nelson, who's with the House of Freedom Trust and Liberty. Yeah, I can't
I'm
talk it.
with the Liberty Debt Elimination System.
That's right. And
Yeah.
you're out of Chile. I mean, they've had. I understand they've had some problems with their money down there. Are you having similar things with America? And how's your financial system down there? Uh, and how you help? Are you helping people around the world? Is that why you're located in Chile, or what's the deal there?
Well, yeah, this system and these laws and these secrets, they do help people around the world, but mainly what I'm going to talk about applies to U.S. citizens. It just applies mainly to people in the United States.
Okay, very fine. So
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. Hello. I'm sorry that my screen is not showing me right now,
Yeah, you were on
but
earlier. Yeah.
but I'm Ryan, and I'm here to read with you an important presentation we've prepared to share some awesome secrets not many people know about.
Okay. Go ahead.
Here we go. Did you know you can legally cancel Visa, MasterCard, and other unsecured debts in the United States?
How about that?
And and you can achieve exempt status in commercial affairs by using the same trusts the super rich use.
Really? I mean, we can actually take advantage of those loopholes, and without getting in trouble, because it looks like anybody who tries to eliminate debt with anything and we've featured several things on the show in the past here, using trusts and other things, and we want to make sure that it's a safe way for people to go. So this is completely legitimate, right, and used worldwide?
This is definitely legitimate, and it's got a long track record of success.
Wonderful.
So could I read what I have to
You bet.
present now?
Go ahead. I'll let you go forth.
All right. Most people worldwide have never heard of the kind of sovereign trust which can make them tax exempt and which have no tax agency filing requirements. Likewise, most people in the United States are not aware that they can very easily become 100% legally free of most all credit card debt. And this is what we're going to talk about mostly today, is getting rid of your credit card debt completely legally. The main two sources of financial problems for most people have been debts and taxes. So these are the two areas in which it will be beneficial to develop more freedom. In my presentation, we'll start with debts, which the Liberty Debt Elimination System cancel. Please note that this is only for credit cards issued by the United States banks. Cards issued by banks in other countries should be able to have their debts canceled as well using similar methods, but the Liberty Debt Elimination System only cancels debts on credit cards issued by the banks in the USA. From now on, let's refer to the Liberty Debt Elimination System simply as the Liberty System, to keep it short and sweet. It all started with the originator, whom we'll call the benefactor, back in 2002. He successfully canceled over $50,000 of credit card debt involving 7 cards. He never had to go to court, and he hasn't had a problem with them since then. This system has continued to work for countless others to this day, so it has a proven track record now. This allows cardholders to legally and totally cancel credit card debts without bankruptcy. Why settle for debt consolidation, negotiation, reduction, modification, or any other kind of compromise when you can just completely eliminate your debt without bankruptcy? It also works for any other unsecured institutional signature loan or line of credit under the Federal Reserve System, including student loans. But it doesn't work for house mortgages, car loans, or other secured debts. But it's easy. Anyone with access to a computer and Microsoft Word or a compatible software can do it. Just follow simple instructions to put your name and personal information into 3 powerful pages and send them certified mail. That's it. No attorneys needed. You don't need a lawyer. It's quick and it's inexpensive, and it has a 100% success rate. Everyone who has used this exact same system precisely as instructed, to our knowledge, has had collection attempts by banks, lending institutions, etc., and even courts come to a complete stop.
Sounds great. Okay.
All right. The Liberty system has even worked for people who have been sued for their from their credit card institutions. They adapted the documents to the court case, and the cases were dismissed. The system continues to work today. It is time-tested. It takes a few months for you to see that the pretender lender collection attempts have definitely stopped, but you will see them stop. One customer in the past had about $43,000 in credit card debts. She had maxed her cards out after her husband passed away, and she was being hounded by the so-called creditors. Then from some friends and family, she found out that they're not creditors at all. She used the Liberty System polite and professional dispute letter and affidavit, and she hasn't heard from the money lenders or their collection agents since then. In one case, they did persist with 2 more letters, and the Liberty System provided her with simple response letters to send, which took only a few minutes, and she just mailed them in. And this was in early 2010. Since then, she has had no further contact from them. She knows now for a fact that this is because they have been caught in their scam, and they would rather let it quietly go away than to litigate it or publicize it. They don't want people to know.
No. So you're saying that this whole lending system is a scam. The bankers would do that to us?
I'm sorry, what?
I say, you're saying that the whole lending system is a scam, and the bankers would do that to us, huh?
Yes.
How about that? So,
Yeah.
So it's all built on a fraud, and we're just trying to correct the fraud, is right?
Well, it is fraud. It is deceptive. It is fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Legitimately, it's fraud.
Right.
This system works far better and more consistently than commercial discharge or set-off methods under the UCC, because the elite have tried to monopolize those methods too for themselves, while stopping them from being honored for most people. We've been saying for years that this system has been enjoying a 100% success rate. Now we have one more success, and this one comes with proof in writing. Here's a picture of a letter from the TransUnion, which is a credit reporting agency, showing the debt has been deleted. Usually when we beat the pretender lenders, they just quietly slither away and never issue anything in writing confirming our victory, because they probably figure it would get duplicated and the word would spread far faster than it already is. So the best we've been able to enjoy so far is in this matter is their going silent and ceasing their collection efforts. That alone has freed countless people from the tyranny of debt enslavement. So we can't complain. But now, for the first time, it's nice to receive an actual written confirmation of the elimination of the debt.
Right
So
on.
this is working, and this doesn't mean that the same will happen for you if you use the system. More likely, your debt would just quietly go away, and you would never receive anything in writing confirming it. It's like the old proverb, no news is good news. Meaning no more billing statements, no more collection letters, no more collection calls, and the debt has been completely written off. But who knows, maybe things are changing. The fact that this attached notice came for one person could mean they're getting more willing to confirm it in writing for others too.
Yeah.
The effectiveness of the Liberty system does not depend upon presenting mere philosophy to the banks. While what they are doing may be unethical, we aren't arguing ethics here. The reason this is effective is because it targets actual specific laws that they are breaking. They cannot get around it, and they cannot defeat this fact. That's why people who have been sued have had their cases dismissed when the Liberty documents were presented.
How about that? That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, so I got some questions that people could have, and then some clear answers about them. So,
yeah, I do believe in paying my legitimate debts. I've received real goods and services. So why is it ethical for me to not pay those debts, repay them?
Yeah. Well, it's because the money lenders were not the sources of those goods and services.
Oh, really?
It's money out of thin air. They didn't give you anything. The merchants who provided the goods and the services were paid, but the money lenders didn't produce anything. Furthermore, the moneylenders never loaned anything. No money ever came out of their accounts to issue your lines of credit. They pretended to make loans when actually nothing was ever loaned to you. That's called fraud.
Yeah.
That is why this system legally works. You're simply confronting them with the truth, and they can't deny that.
How about that?
We strongly recommend that everyone read this book, The Creature from Jekyll Island.
Oh, yeah.
You can find it on Amazon. That book reveals a fascinating story of the creation of the Federal Reserve banking system. That's a phrase maybe more of the audience will recognize there. And how the banks of today are loaning what the banks are loaning now has never been true money, but instead it's just fiction. It's just money created out of thin air in a sophisticated strategy for the bankers to take over.
That's right. Yeah.
And another question people could have.
What unsecured debts can't be eliminated? What can I eliminate? What's the limits here?
Can't be eliminated.
Yeah.
The debts that can't be eliminated are the legitimately owed debts, such as money your friend or your father gave you, or a department store credit card where you received merchandise from that store and the store didn't sell the paper to another loan servicing company. If the department store kept the loan paper in-house, then that is a legitimate debt. You owe the money.
Sure.
The invalid debts, which this set successfully cancels, are the money out of thin air debts under the Federal Reserve System, such as your Visa card and MasterCard and Discover card, or any other institutional credit issues.
Wow. That sounds very interesting.
Next question.
So what happens to the status of the credit card after this process is complete? Are the credit cards canceled, or are they still useful? What can I do with that old credit card?
Good question. After the debt has been canceled, the credit card institution will close out that account. So no, that credit card will not be useful anymore. As a matter of fact, that institution probably wouldn't want you as a customer again.
I guess.
After all, they're making a pretty lucrative racket by pretending to loan money when nothing, not a penny, ever came out of their accounts to any credit card customer. So when they realize you're not going to play that game anymore, you're no longer a viable source of free money for them.
Okay, I guess
They can't prove that they didn't commit fraud. They can't prove it. And so that's why they'll let the debt go away when you challenge them head on. But on the other hand, they're going to keep their free gravy train going as long as possible. Customers who wise up to it are no longer welcome. Furthermore, in good conscience, it would not be ethical for the customer deliberately to create credit card debts and then cancel them, knowing in advance that it is a fraud. The actions outlined here allow you to act in good faith, showing that you have learned about the fraud only after having already unwittingly allowed the so-called debt to exist for some time, and after having mistakenly honored it by making those payments.
Yeah. Very good.
We got a few more questions we can cover here.
Okay. So those who understand American sovereign citizenship under HCR 192 of 1933 and the Uniform Commercial Code and commercial remedies such as our rights as creditors to create money in accordance with the UCC know that debts can be set off or discharged by the issuance of proper credit instruments. So why then do you speak of creating money out of thin air as if some kind of wrong or illegal or unethical act is happening?
There's nothing unethical about creating money out of thin air per se, if it were to be offered equally across the board to everyone, openly with full disclosure, with equal opportunity, and with publicly sanctioned assistance in implementing it to all people without discrimination. What is unethical is to do it like a magic trick, hidden behind the scenes, to keep it a secret from everyone, to pretend that the loans came out of their supposedly already existing, genuine, and limited funds, that they would therefore be financially harmed if you don't pay it back. That's harmful dishonesty, plain and simple.
Right.
It's deliberate and unjust enrichment designed to benefit the few at the expense of us, at the expense of the many. Read books like The Creature from Jekyll Island or Secrets of the Federal Reserve. They explain in crystal clear terms exactly how the mandrake mechanism works, which is how they create money out of thin air and pretend that it's real.
Right. Yeah.
Furthermore, most people don't realize that in all 50 states, it's illegal to loan credit. It's legal to loan money, but not credit. And yet, that's exactly what the pretender lenders have been doing. Thus, the commercial remedies rightfully provided to us under the UCC have not worked for most people, even when presented properly, for the simple reason that the egomaniacal controllers have monopolized the benefits of the system for the insiders, at the exclusion and at the expense of everybody else. It is for that reason that this system challenges the fraud, rather than attempting to discharge the debt. And it is for that reason that this approach has been 100% successful to our knowledge.
Wow, that sounds quite a good remedy. So what happens to my credit rating after this debt is canceled?
As discussed above, why would you continue to use credit once you know that it's a fraud?
Oh, yeah.
But most of the people who have gone down this path of canceling their debts have learned to live without credit.
Really?
And use debit cards instead. That's what I do, and that's what I recommend.
That's what I do too.
If you're stuck with credit card debt,
Yep.
then here's a ticket out. However, the good news is actually more and more users of this system don't have any blemish on their credit card rating, for the simple reason that in the last couple of years, those who take this approach have been sending a carbon copy of the letters to the credit rating agencies, to all the 3 credit rating agencies. In other words, whatever you are sending to the pretender lenders, you're also sending copies of to the 3 main credit reporting agencies. That shows them that you are not in default, but rather the debt is in dispute. As long as it is in dispute, it cannot be considered to be in default. So blemishes on your credit rating are much more rare now, and even when they occur, they're erroneous and can be corrected.
Oh, that's encouraging. Oh. Okay, so can this tactic work in countries other than the U.S.? Say I have my money stored in the Bahamas.
Here's a big question with kind of a big answer. The good news is the answer to your question is most likely yes, potentially, because most countries in the world operate under the same general monetary system as the U.S. does, more or less. The problem is the legal sites in the Liberty system have never been adapted for that. The Liberty system has laws cited like USC 1692, and people in other countries would have to have a lawyer or a paralegal find the equivalent for that in their nation. USC is the United States Code, and it only applies to the US. However, this system should work for people in other countries.
Okay, oops, well, uh-oh. Okay, you're back on the air. I had a nice interlude there. Go ahead. You can screen share again if you want to.
Okay.
Okay, we got another question here, huh? Can this tactic work in countries other than the USA? I think we already had that one.
Well, to move on, the answer is yes. If you adapt all the laws that are in the documents,
yeah.
you can adapt it, and it would apply to other countries.
Yeah, I think we covered that one. Yeah, next.
But let's move on now.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk about setting up a common law trust, and cover that a little bit. More and more people today know that a worldwide financial reset is imminent. And as such, you may have wondered if a foundation, corporation, or a statutory trust that you set up will be made extinct or redundant after the restoration of the common law governments have been made widely known, and similar changes occur in governments around the world. There is a centuries-old, time-tested asset protection instrument that we consider to be ideal, because it will continue to be valid even after a golden age has dawned worldwide. You can use the same trusts that the super rich use. It's applicable in all countries. It's time for peaceful people like us to disseminate beneficial influences in society with the same sovereign legal instruments with which the dark elite have been previously hiding their assets. Yes. So what a common law trust can do, what the right kind of pure trust organization can do is completely protect your assets.
That sounds
It
good.
will give you protection from creditors, protection from liability suits, protection from malpractice suits, from employees, from personal bankruptcy, and protection from excessive divorce settlements. It avoids probate. It avoids inheritance tax. It avoids estate taxes and court actions. It eliminates attorney fees. It
Wow.
eliminates or reduces accountant fees. It eliminates executors' fees, eliminates or reduces income taxes. There's a big
Yeah.
relevant one.
Yeah. Well, we
It
stopped that.
frees tax dollars from capital appreciation. It provides complete control over your assets through trustees. There's no public record of it, and there doesn't need to be. Ownership and title can be passed to your heirs in complete secrecy, and you have all the right. Trust is perpetual. The trust lives on continuously. Heirs cannot change, challenge, or contest any wishes at your death. The trust is easy to maintain and pretty inexpensive.
Wow. 22 hot
There are
items.
two main,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
That's all sounds very good. Go ahead. Two main types.
A lot of people, not the majority, but a lot of people do know about this and do use this. This is how the richest people avoid paying taxes, and anybody can do the same thing. You can do it. There are two main types of law: common law and statutory law.
That's right.
Common law is generally more attuned to natural law and universal law. It's been around a whole lot longer, and it's more agreeable to more people, hence the word common. Statutory law, on the other hand, which is what LLCs and corporations are based on, is legislated by politicians, and it changes from time to time. Often every year it changes. It can be outrageously complex, and it has too often been engineered to benefit the few at the expense of the many. A common law trust, by contrast, has no filing requirements. It is created based on the unlimited right that we have to enter into contract with each other. It's none of the government's business. The government has no authority to disallow this. This is affirmed in the U.S. Supreme Court case Hale versus Henkel in 1905.
Yep.
And if that rings a bell for anybody, it is one of the most quoted court cases in history and has never been overturned.
Yep.
So such a trust can go on being renewed generation after generation and go on enduring through whatever changes may take place in the statutes.
Right.
And if you already have a corporation or a license, if you're a licensed loan contractor and a bank account, you have a bank account for it, you can greatly reduce and minimize the taxes that it owes by establishing a common law trust and having the trust be 98% owner of the LLC. Everything that one was doing in one's personal name or in the name of a statutory tax reporting entity, one can do instead in the name of the pure trust and operate free from ever having to file tax returns ever again.
Wow.
At least on the trust entity. It can hold bank accounts. It can pay all the bills of the trustees and beneficiaries. It can hold real estate, and it can protect just about any kind of asset. It's not understood by most attorneys because it is not taught in law school, but it has been quietly used by many of the world's wealthiest families for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
And here is a copy of a letter from the IRS proving that the common law trust works.
Oh. Okay.
And that is what we have to share with the public today. And I hope some people will be on their way to freeing themselves of debt and taxes.
Well, that would be a blessing for a new year. Way to start off a new year, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that sounds very good, Ryan. So.
Yeah, thanks so much, Don, for having us.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm glad that we could accommodate you.
Sorry about the technical problems we were having, and thanks for bringing me back.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm for the second chance. You know, I want everybody to have a second chance. And if you have some debts out there, visa and other things that you want to be free of, I might explore the different avenues for debt elimination. This is one very good one. I've also heard of promissory notes put forth by other people and things. So there's all kinds of different ways to try to get yourself under control and your money situation away from those sticky hands of the people who are committing fraud and against the whole world, and able to resurrect food, bank buildings, and all this other stuff based on money that's just out of thin air, that somehow lending credit instead of money. So the whole system needs to be revamped, and this is probably a good start for that. You think?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, very fine. I appreciate you're coming on. What's the weather down there in Santiago, Chile?
Down here in Santiago, Chile, it is summer and it is hot.
Hot.
It is really hot. Yeah, we're just now getting into the act.
Uh-oh. You there? Uh-oh. Did I lose you again? I guess I lost him. Okay, well, very fine. We're done with that. There we go.
I'm about to explode. Come with me now. Get low. I'm about to.
At times, the streets of Ferguson, Missouri look like a war zone this week as police patrol the streets in armored vehicles. News photographers captured a striking image earlier this week of a team of police officers dressed in military gear pointing their high-powered guns at a young African-American man who has his hands in the air. Yahoo News reports the Defense Logistics Agency has confirmed the Ferguson Police Department is part of a federal program in which the Pentagon distributes hundreds of millions of dollars of surplus military equipment from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan to civilian police forces across the country.
Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms. Doesn't matter how many lemmings you get out there on the street begging for them to have their guns taken. We will not relinquish them. Do you understand? That's why you're going to fail, and the establishment knows no matter how much propaganda, the Republic will rise again when you attempt to take our guns.
Is it far-fetched to imagine that these UN peacekeeping forces would be used against American citizens? The 502nd, another unit from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, is shown here arriving as peacekeepers in Somalia, wearing their UN blue berets and UN insignia. Shortly thereafter, this same unit, the 502nd, was in Arkansas practicing house-to-house searches and seizures in a joint UN training mission called Agile Provider.
Here is the actual treaty that we just signed. Article 5 says, each party shall establish and maintain a national control system, including a national control list. Well, what does that mean? That paves the way for a national gun registry and the tracking of all firearms.
So these people who hold themselves out to be patriots are not. They're nothing more than domestic terrorists.
Surveillance drones could soon be watching us all from overhead. The Federal Aviation Administration is expected to announce plans to expand the use of domestic drones in American airspace. Eyes in the sky, similar to the unmanned aircraft that the United States has been using to target terrorists abroad.
People recently photographed these two clearly marked Soviet vehicles in Texas. This train full of American-made tanks was one of 7 such trains that passed through Indianapolis en route to Fort Lewis, Washington in June.
American and Russian troops will hold a series of joint anti-terror drills in the U.S. state of Colorado next month.
3 other such trains passed through Indianapolis in early August, one heading to Fort Riley, Kansas, another to Alabama, and the third to Fort Lewis, Washington. Are these tanks part of Operation Garden Plot, to be used to round us up for the slave labor camps, along with the black helicopters and federal law enforcement that look like active-duty military stationed in our roadways as they were in Waco? Perhaps most disturbing was this letter received by New American Magazine detailing a survey given to Marines at 29 Palms Base. We confirmed this survey was given to Army Special Operations recruits. The survey asked troops whether they would swear to the following code. I am a United Nations fighting person. I serve in the forces which maintain world peace and every nation's way of life. I am prepared to give my life in their defense. This survey also asked if these U.S. military men would fire upon U.S. citizens who refuse or resist confiscation of firearms banned by the U.S. government.
Looks like a good show there about the UN wanting to take over the United States, and already has all these vehicles and things that are here for whom? Whose protection? How will they protect us? So anyway, I'm going to try to get another little clip here because I have about another couple of minutes. Let me see if I can get something else in here to play right away here. Okay. Oh, that's a good video. Oh boy. Okay. Here we go. Nice little one here. This will be good for a couple minutes here. Oh, it's 17 minutes. Well, anyway.
When it comes to protecting Medicare access and seniors' choice of physician.
Okay, play this one for a little bit. The Red Cross cured 154 malaria cases with MMS. So how about that? But they don't want to let that fact out. So that's rather interesting here. So,
hi, I'm Jim Humble.
Yep.
In the late 90s, in the jungle of Guyana, South America, I discovered a cure for malaria, a disease that now kills about 1.2 million people a year. Since then, I've diligently worked to get this discovery, which I call MMS, into the mainstream. It appears there are those who would rather I and my discovery go away. I won't bother you with the details. They're in my books and all over the internet already. In late 2012, Leo Kohoff, one of my associates, along with the Uganda Red Cross, the International Red Cross, and the Water Reference Center, came together to perform a test to once and for all determine if MMS really works, something I and others have proven many times over. 154 malaria victims were treated and easily cured, to the surprise of the Red Cross staff. Then, to our surprise, the Red Cross dragged their feet for months, refusing to announce the results. Finally, when we pushed the issue, they came out with a public statement saying they strongly dissociate themselves from the claim of a miracle solution to defeat malaria. Furthermore, they claim they were never involved in any clinical trials. There were 3 different people from around the world who documented the test by video, not including the actual medical documents the Red Cross generated. One was our man Leo, who released his video recently. Then there was a local Ugandan video guy and another, I believe, from Holland. The other day we were informed that the guy from Uganda had completed a video that unquestionably documents that the test really happened. This video has been sitting on YouTube unlisted since January this year. I now invite you to watch this revealing video that proves MMS, which is sodium chloride plus an activator, cures malaria. A video of a test that supposedly never happened. When you're done watching, I would...
Well, ask for another favor. That favor is to spread the news, folks. So we've got to spread the news here, and right now we're going to spread out and be out of here right now. God bless.
Now before long, you're up to 10, and the process begins again. There is someone in the next town, got the word and is spreading it around. Cause an idea, whose time has come, cannot be stopped by anyone. Plant your seeds in fertile ground. There ain't nothing gonna keep it down. Hope you can do it.